Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this video. I appreciate the support, cuzzies. My name is Joe Josh. I go by iChart Daily. Today is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a technical analysis breakdown on the DXY, which has helped us understand what's going on with the markets. Then we'll go into Bitcoin. From Bitcoin, we'll do Ripple XRP, and then we'll end the video with Solana. So this is not financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. I have been doing technical analysis for 17 years now, and I have been invested in crypto hypothetically for about 10 years now. So this is not my first rodeo, and what I'm trying to teach you on this channel is a skill set and a thought process that allows you to trust the charts over people. Time and time again, people have lied to me, and there's no accountability, justification for it, nothing. They just can continue saying price targets that are astronomical without any indicators backing it. And the indicators have not lied to us once. I mean, I've been doing countless videos saying countless things, and time again, the MACD and the RSI and the moving averages, it's mathematical equations, right? So let's go into it. The last video I showed you, we went over the DXY, we went over Bitcoin. So let's do a little update. Long-term trends predict short-term outcomes. Always look on the longer time frames and see what the overall trend is now, meaning is the MACD bullish or bearish, is the RSI bullish or bearish. That will help you 150,000% on your shorter time frames. So if the monthly is bearish, what that means is if the next candle is red, there's going to be more blood on the weekly time frame. If the weekly chart remains bullish or bearish, that'll help you on the daily time frame. If the daily time frame shows you that it's remaining bullish or bearish, that'll help you on the hourly 2-hour, right? If you're looking at the hourly time frame and you're planning for an hour, that'll help you on the 3 and the 5 minute. So we start long. We don't start with the 3 minute. We start with the monthly, and we figure out the overall trend, what's going on, and then we start zooming in. So monthly trend are these beautiful yellow lines. We're making higher lows and higher highs. Right now, like I said, we're at that 50% mark. So we want to see, because we are making somewhat of the same lows and lower highs, could this be a descending triangle that leads to the downside and we go back to support? Or is it the start of a symmetrical triangle and we break out of this triangle and we head to the upside? The first thing that I'm going to do to justify that hypothesis is the MACD and the RSI. So MACD still bearish, right? We want to see volume coming out the other way. This is the only hope that you see right now, is this, that volume is going the other way. But we still remain bearish because your shorter time moving average is above the longer time moving average. This part of the MACD is bullish when you have a golden cross, volumes going up. This volume is coming down, but it seems like there is buying pressure since the volume is going the other way. You can see when volume starts going the other way, the moving averages start changing and you have a more bullish momentum going forward. We haven't had that yet, so we still remain somewhat bearish on the MACD. But the most important thing is volume going to continue going the other way? Next, I look at an RSI. RSI, the most bullish scenario is this part, when you have this golden cross and you're making higher lows above the moving average. Somewhat of the same thing, right? And then once you have this death cross right here, this is bearish, right? Every time you retest, it's a continuation to the downside. In my last video, I said the most important thing is this, what's happening right now. You could see here we did not break the moving average. We did not turn bullish. The most important thing is this low here and then this low here. So yes, this does confirm that we are basically at resistance and we could stall out over the next couple of weeks and come down. But where do we form the higher low? Does it stay on this trend and we make a lower low? down to, let's just say, the 46. That resistance right there will turn back into support over here. Do we stay above the 50 line and form another double bottom at the 51? So here's the deal, right? I know we're coming down because the monthly still looks like poop, right? So the monthly's coming down, and there's a couple scenarios that could play out. So here's where the chess comes in, right? I always compare this to chess because you could only move the next piece, but you prepare for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves ahead. And this is how you prepare for it. And how do you prepare in technical analysis? You set alerts, right? So you set an alert here to see if it's going to stop at the 51 here again. If it stops at the 51, then this is an inverse head and shoulders and the start of a trend change on the longer time frame. Now, the only reason why I say that is this high here was higher than this high here, okay? We then came down and made a lower high. Technically, because we made a lower high, we should stay in this trend and make a lower low. If we break the 50 and then make a lower low to this one right here, the 40.57, we come down to here, let's just say the 45.34, that means the DXY will be bleeding for the next weeks to months. Now, what's happening with the DXY right now is exactly what I said in the last video. The DXY went from support to resistance. This arrow is over. Now it's showing us wicks and selling pressure, but we're having this golden cross and we're in section A. So as I look a little bit longer, it does look a little bit more bullish on the shorter time frames, right? We're having a golden cross, we formed the bottom, and we're in section A. So that shows me we could technically break this 104.19 and head above. If we do break above, then once again the markets look like they're going to take a little bit more of a poop and more money's going back to the dollar. It's just that simple, right? So once again, we are here, and you can see here buying pressure at the 102. We came down, we had buying pressure. So now we want to see if we do break up, and our next resistance levels are going to be, let's just say, the 105.02. The same it was in the past, right? It was resistance, it turned into support, turned into resistance, turned into support, turned into resistance. The most important thing is if we do go back to that 105 level, we're now out of resistance, right? We've broken this downtrend, showing me that this is done. And technically, we could come back to the 105 and then make another higher high to the 105.19. And then technically, your major resistance is the 106.59, right? Always go to longer time frames to see where you're going to get major selling pressure. And you can see here, if this technically is, could be even like an ascending triangle, right? We've had resistance the longest time at the 105.11. If we do break the 105.11, you can see here you're popping back up to the 106.68. When does that happen? That happens when the monthly shows us an inverse head and shoulders. 1, 2, we do have a little consolidation, but it shows us if we're staying in section A and we're forming a higher low, anything higher to this one here, that's a trend change for the better, right? For the DXY, worse for Bitcoin and crypto and stocks, but I mean that's just the sentiment, right? I said in one of my last videos, Nvidia has been the stock that's been pumping this run. The last run it was Tesla, and I used Tesla as like a key indicator to call a top, or at least a consolidation, right? I'm not calling the top. The halving hasn't even started yet, and we still have room to grow on the Bitcoin monthly RSI, but we're due for consolidation, and we're trying to I'll show you in the next part of the video where the consolidation could lead us to, right? So as of right now, DXY on the monthly still needs to prove itself. DXY on the daily, now here's where we set alerts, okay? I would set an alert right here at the 104.24. The reason why I say that is the most recent high here, right? If we do break this resistance, we would go to this main resistance level of the 102.26, and it would look like this, right? We would break out, it would trickle along here. You would want to see it come back to major support, which is here, 103.71. Right, what was resistance turned into support, it'll turn into support again, and then you want to see a higher low, and then I would be then drawing lines like this in an uptrend. like that, and you would have a breakout. Right now, hasn't happened yet. This is why I'm setting an alert here. There's still room for this DXY to come back down, form yet what? Another higher low, right? If we do come back down and we form a higher low here at the 103, that will help the weekly and the monthly form that bullish divergence and stay above the 50, right? And then we do something like this, and then eventually we could break out to this level over here, closer to like April, May. Once again, everyone keeps saying the halvening, but it never happens on the day. Like when the halvening happens and that day comes, it's not like boom, like pumpage to Bitcoin. It's a long-term effect because it affects the miners. But I made a community post. I'm going to pause the video here. I'm done with the DXY. We'll go into, I'll leave you with one more alert. I'm going to put an alert here at the 103.46. I'm going to keep it tight. I want to see if we have, because once again, I'm not going to sit here and watch the DXY. So what I'll do is I understand the trend where if we break this support level of the 103.45, we're coming down here to the 102.86. If we break this resistance level of the 104.24, then we have potential to go to the 105.59 or the greed level of the 10, right there, 104.85. So now that you understand it, we're not trading it, we just understand what the importance of it is. You can go do what you got to do. Like chart Bitcoin. So I want to pause the video here and I want to say something because I did post this in the community tab about 2-3 weeks ago, right? The importance of the halvening, please do your own research, is it affects the miners, right? And the miners are the majority of the selling pressure. But Bitcoin's never usually at an all-time high, right? So if you cut a miner's rewards in half, but it's still profitable, they could still keep the operation on, and you're getting the selling pressure, which won't make the price pump as much. Now you have the ETF buying, but once again, are they selling? Are they taking profit? You don't know, right? But my point is at the halvening, we're not usually at all-time high levels. We're usually a lot lower, right? You can see here we were close to 9,000, and the all-time high was 18,000, right? Over here, halvening was May, April. We were at 450, and the all-time high was at 1,200, right? That's my point. So when the miners had their rewards cut in half here, it wasn't profitable until, right? Let's just do simple math. If you're making 1,000 a month and Bitcoin's at 500, right? And they cut your rewards in half, Bitcoin needs to double in order for your rewards to be back to normal, right? That's just simple math. So if you're mega profitable now, because once again it would be like down here 29,000, let's just say, comparable with an all-time high of 70, and we were at 29,000, 27,000, and then they cut your rewards in half. Some small mom and pop shops or whatever the case may be might not be profitable, and then they'd stop mining and they stop selling. We're at 765,000. You cut the rewards in half, some miners, they're brushing off their shoulders like, yeah, we're still Gucci. So we're still mining like as we can. So once again, they're putting coins in circulation and they're selling. It's a double-ended sword. So, I don't know what is going to happen. This is the first time that if the halvening happens in 30 days and we're at 50, 60, 70,000, I don't know what the impact is on the miners. So now let's jump into Bitcoin. A couple charts that I want to show you, right? First things first. What have I been saying? As we inch closer towards this line, I am hypothetically taking more and more profit, right? I don't chase green candles. I don't buy at resistance and sell it support. I buy at support and take profit at resistance. That's the strategy, right? So once again, 17.5, 15.5, 13.5 was when I started my last channel. If you remember me saying those numbers and saying trust the charts, do me a favor, like the video and put that in the comment section. Now, right? Now we're at the 70 something with a little bit of room to grow. Once again, still bullish, so I think we just have a small consolidation on the short term to midterm, and then we form higher lows thereafter. Take your profit accordingly. Not financial advice, especially on meme coins that are up thousands of %. So this is a Fibonacci channel. what I try and do is I use multiple confluence ideas to justify where I think stuff is going to happen. So here is a Fibonacci channel. I'll show you how to do it. Click on the second tab, click on the third one down. I went to a 2-week chart. If you remember me saying the beautiful white line on a 2-week chart helped me understand, I took this low, connected it to this low, connected it to this low, and I just drew it over here, and it lined up with 17.5, 15.5, 13.5, which also lined up with the monthly RSI. So you click there, and then you drag all the way over here, and I made the one level to the top right here. You could even go this way a little bit. So I lined up the one level with the top here, and then I used the 786 with the top and the bottom here, the top and the bottom here, the top here, and then everything else just fell into place. Right? I'll delete this, I'll delete this, and I'll redo everything, okay? So now you can see certain resistance levels just based off the fib channel. And you can see how it lines up all the way back from 2017, right? Resistance, support, resistance. Where should you be buying in this gray area, right? Where should you be taking profit? Well, anything from here to above, right? Here's where you want to accumulate, right? And then here's where you want to take your profit, right? Here's where you want to take your profit. But technically, you could see here, this level was used as resistance, which is the 0.5, used as resistance again. Now, this was way before the halvening, right? Here's the halvening. This happened way before, and then jab, jab happened. So there was massive blood. But you can see it still respected the line. So here's the first confluence that I'm trying to teach you. If we stay above this green line, we have potential to go back up. If we break the green line, well, we're going to the red line. And the red line pretty much lines up with, let's just say, 48,000 to technically 59,000, right? So that's one confluence that I see. You can see here, we stayed here, we broke from the blue, the light green, we went to the red, from the red we went to the gray. Well, I don't think we go down to the gray, but the gray keeps rising, right? So gray right now is 28,000. I don't think we touch that. That's just speculation, okay? So now we could delete this. Second thing that I was noticing is this beautiful rounding bottom, which I've said for months now. I mean, usually rounding bottoms, they can turn into cup and handles, yada, yada, yada. Where's the rounding bottom? So you click on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tab down, curve, start it from here, go here, and now you just manipulate it, right? Like this, move this here, bring this up, and boom. So, resistance. Clear resistance. And why is that resistance? Is because everyone that bought here at 55 to technically 65,000 here, let's just say, and bought the top, had to wait on average 966, let's just say 900 to 1,000 days just to break even. Some people don't care about the technology, the blockchain, the future, the adoption, the anti-inflationary vehicle, yada, yada, yada. They wanted to make money, and now they need the money, so they're taking profit, or a little bit of profit, or breaking even, and not booking a loss. So in this pattern, you can clearly see support, 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 support. So now we're here. We're seeing resistance, and we're seeing the first red candle since January, right? The first red candle on the 2-week chart since January. So the first thing that pops up in my mind is we're probably going to go back to that white line. And the most bullish thing that could happen is use it as support, right? So the first thing you want to look at, and if someone says, well, how do we know it's going to stop at support? Well, what's the long-term trend telling you? If the long-term trend, right? If the long-term trend still remains bullish, and this still remains bullish, then we should expect what on the weekly time frame? More bullish scenarios, right? When your MACD is death crossed on a monthly, and you're getting bearish price action on the RSI, meaning like we went from the 70 below, right? We death crossed here. You used it as resistance. These are two mega bearish indications. We used it as support when we're making lower lows and lower highs. We golden cross, we went above the moving average, we're in section A, we're using it as support. So as long as the monthly remains bullish and we have a little bit of room to grow, the weekly should still remain bullish, and we should still see support back at, let's just say, over here somewhere. So now we're trying to figure out what back over here somewhere is. Now we start drawing lines this way, right? So once again, boom, I would say 58, 58.5 down to 52.8, right? And that was the previous resistance that could turn back into support again. Now, weekly chart, delete this. First thing you want to know is, what is the MACD doing? MACD has been making higher lows and higher highs. First thing that I noticed though is this is the first baby blue line coming in on a weekly. What happened last time the baby blue came in on a weekly? We came down. I don't know if we death cross, or I don't know if we just stay above. Once again, I'm good for the first move. The first move is coming down, cuzzy, right? And what's going to tell you if that happens is this, right? You can see here, the last time we broke, we came down on the RSI, meaning the last time we broke the moving average, broke the 70, we had a nice, healthy 21% correction. That would take us to, let's just say 27%, back down to 53,000, 21%, excuse me. Come on, man. 21%, right back to that line at 58,000, 57,000, standing out like a sore thumb. The bottom of the wick standing out like a sore thumb. The top of these candles are sticking out like a sore thumb. So I'm just going to say 58.5 to play it safe. Right now we're at 64,000. That would still bring major blood to the alts that have been pumping. And the most important thing before I move on, actually no, I have to do the moving averages still, but the most important thing is, are we going to form a higher low, right? You need to zoom out and look at the macro picture, right? Meaning, for the longest time, we made lower highs, right? For the longest time, we made a lower low, right? Since this little blip right here, which once again, 17.5, 15.5, 13.5, you're welcome. Got to pat myself on the back for that one to actually make videos on as well. We have been making higher lows, right? We have been making higher highs, right? So the most important thing is, are we going to come down and form a higher low? Higher low to what? This is the last low here, 41 to 38,000. So that's why I like to give a range, because technically we could come all the way back down to the 50, do a little wick, you know, and once again, I'd be totally fine with it. We could come all the way back down to the 46, right? Still be bullish. We could do something like that, a little wick below and then come back in. Now, let me do the moving average, because that's the last confluence, and I'm going to leave you with a speculation before I go into XRP. So on the weekly time frame, you got to F around to find out, right? I figured out that on the weekly time frame, the 11 and 21 day is used as support during a bull run when the monthly is bullish, and used as resistance during a bear market, or when the monthly turns bearish. Right now, the monthly is bullish. So what do I say? I think we could come back down to the 11 or 21 day moving average, lining up with, let's just say, 55,000 to about 49.7. Now, this is a trailing indicator on a trailing time frame. It's not like we're looking at the minute chart. You're looking at the weekly, right? So price action needs to happen in order for the candles to print on this time frame. So once again, I'm just choosing this box here, cuzzy. You know, boom. You know, you don't have to pinch pennies and be like, it's going to go to 51.0. If it goes to, if I say 51,000, it goes to 52, 51.5, and you start seeing buying pressure there, then that's the range, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop being so anal about it. So that's what I think happens, and it also lines up with the 11 and 21 day, yada, 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 right? Now, I wanted to leave you with this. If poo-poo hits the fan, and we don't have a continuation, right? Let's just say we do something like this, we form a lower high, and then we break, and then we come back down to like major support of 37,000 to 32,000. I could see that happening too. I said it in my last video. If you remember me saying it, do me a favor and support and post a comment. But I think we have a sell the news type of event. I mean, this is not my first rodeo. This happens in stocks. This happens all the time. Doesn't matter where in the world. It's sell the news, buy the rumor, right? The rumor was here when the Bitcoin halving was coming, in a year. Now the Bitcoin halving is here, and people are like, that's it. We're going to be millionaires when it goes to 100,000. I think we could have a consolidation. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm playing chess, right? So the first move's here, then I need to evaluate. If I see more bearish divergence or hidden bearish divergence playing out on the daily, the weekly, the 2 week, and I see the long-term trend is changing, I could see us coming back down to here, and it would be like a cup and handle, right? So as of right now, it's a rounding bottom, not a cup and handle. A cup and handle is a rounding bottom. Then you would have the handle, which would be a major sell-off. We still form higher lows to the macro, really this one here, the 28,000, and then we would have a blast off towards the end of the year, lining up with, let's just say, June till November. I mean, I just drew that, but I think that's like the time frame it happens, right? Halving happens, but yet nothing happens in price. People are like, F this is stupid. I probably should have bought NVIDIA or SoundHound or what are these other stocks that are just flying. We sell, once again, the ETFs, the MicroStrategies, the Michael Saylors, and the people like me and you. We buy again when the asset's extremely oversold. And then we write it up back to, let's just say, even the 71. And I think it does go to around the 100,000 just because everyone's saying it. But I don't think if first try, maybe there's major selling pressure at 85 to 90. That's just the smartest thing I could come up with, because if everyone's saying 100,000, and I've been in hypothetically since 15,000, once I'm up a couple 100%, and I think it's extremely overbought again, and the charts are telling me that it's overbought, and everyone else is saying it's a good time to buy, I'm like, yeah, sure, here's my Bitcoin at 75, 85, 95. So that's Bitcoin. Let's go into XRP. XRP is literally doing what I said it should do. We broke out. Now we want to see, are we having a fake out? And we're going to come back into the trend. The first thing that I want to show you is this weekly time frame, right? Why? Because long-term trends predict short-term outcomes. It's the same lingo, same thought process, different ticker, different chart. I could click on any single ticker. I could look at a chart that I know nothing about, and if the chart's showing me something, it usually happens, bro. It's a sad reality, right? And some people don't want to hear that. They're like, the fundamentals. And I'm like, yeah, well, go take the fundamentals and beat it. Because if the fundamentals mattered, this coin would outproduce meme coins. But it didn't, right? And this coin should have outproduced this coin, but it didn't, right? This coin has all the news in the world going for it. Best this, Swift, microtransactions, yada, yada, yada. But a coin that has network outages was connected to Sam Bankman-Fried. It's total multiple things on the bad side. Everyone said they were not. Everyone said they were selling it at $5 to $10. Meanwhile, you should have been buying it, and you would have made 1,700% over the past year and a half. And by the way, the news was telling you, F the news. I haven't said it in a while, but F the news. The news was telling us here, if you remember, we're going into a recession when we were down 90%. Meanwhile, coins usually do that after a parabolic move, right? What's a parabolic move? This is parabolic, Buzz. I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. So 1,700%. I don't really chase green candles, but we'll get to this one. So XRP. Here we are. The first thing you want to look at, this chart still remains poopy, right? We're forming that bottom, but once again, in section B. So that means this stays flat. You want your coin versus Bitcoin to gain value while Bitcoin's coming down, because then your coin will at least stay flat, right? If your coin's going down versus Bitcoin or staying flat versus Bitcoin and not gaining any momentum while the mothership starts coming down, well, then your coin versus the dollar will do exactly what it's showing and it's going to come down. If your coin's going up in Bitcoin while Bitcoin's coming down, your coin won't bleed as much and it'll somewhat stay flat. So, because we're in Section B, we're oversold. Yes, we're going to have a pump, but unfortunately the pump is happening at a time when the coin that needs to do the pump as well is not. So, you're having a positive be neglected by the more important negative, which is Bitcoin. Right? Your coin going up against Bitcoin means absolutely nothing if Bitcoin's coming down. XRP could stay flat. And then what happens is if this still remains flat and then Bitcoin comes down, forget it. It's a double negative. So we remain flat versus Bitcoin, not the best. So this chart, the first one I wanted to show you, weekly chart, this RSI, right? Most important thing, was it making higher highs? Yes, made higher highs from the 30 to the 70. We should have bought where? At the bottom. Where should have you been taking the most amount of profit? At the top. Now the trend has been making lower highs and lower lows. And we formed these little Batman ears, right? Batman's never good. Here he is again. Shout out to my supporters that caught that joke last time. But Batman's out, cuzzy, right? It's making a lower high, especially on the macro. And the next line of support is the moving average and the 50. If it breaks the moving average into 50 and continues this trend, right, a lower low, lower, 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 low, right? So let's play chess. First move's here, okay? I can almost guarantee that. Second move, I don't know if it's a dead cat bounce or if it's a fall through support all the way back down to here, right? So doesn't look great because both options are bad. So now that we understand that the momentum on the weekly is bad and we have the RSI against us, now we start zooming in. And what I want to look for is a time frame that looks like it's about to death cross. And the reason why is the most amount of volume usually comes in and out on a golden cross and a death cross, and it shows that the trend is changing for either the worse here or the better here, right? So what I'm trying to do, this is a 2-day time frame. The next candle is going to be printing on Thursday. You got today and tomorrow to figure out if this is a head and shoulders pattern. That looks like it is, which is going to complete and come back down to 54 cents to technically 52 cents. And I think it's going to play out. Next, RSI. RSI, this is the same lines that look like this on a weekly, but on a 2-day, it shows you a little bit more. And the first thing that I noticed was we broke above, right? We double top. Batman showed his ears. We came in, used what was previous resistance as resistance again. This shows me that, and it used the moving average. This is a clear continuation to the downside, showing me that we're probably going to break the 50 and we're going to go at least down to 43 to technically 39, showing me that there's blood on the horizon, okay? And if the RSI is in section B, right, this is A plus, this is B, this is B minus. If you're now in section B, that shows me that it's a continuation to the downside as well, showing me that we're probably going to be breaking this 57 cents and then retesting, like I said, 53 cents, 53 cents to technically 50 cents. You got 2 days for that to play out. Next is Solana. I'm going to leave you with this. Ethereum was the coin that was pumping last run. One of the main variables that was helping it was NFTs and meme coins being built on Ethereum, right? You had to buy, and even ICOs, right? That was the previous run prior. If you were not in Bitcoin ecosystem during this part of the adoption phase, there was all ICOs, and if you wanted to be in ICOs from 2015 to, let's just say, 2018, you had to sacrifice Ethereum, right? And then you would get your ICO coins when they did the airdrop. So what does that do? Well, that brings the price of Ethereum up because you got to buy Ethereum to be part of the ICOs. Well, guess what's happening now with Solana? Solana's meme coins are pumping, cuzzy. And the coin that you have to sacrifice to get to that is Solana. Solana's been pumping, right? So if people are making money off of the memes still, right, you need to understand that people are going to wait for the best buying opportunity, which is probably going to be right around the 137 to technically 118 level, and then convert that, right? Because if you had 200 bucks and it goes down to 100, well, now you could sacrifice 2 coins. If it's at 182 and you have $200, you're sacrificing 1 coin, you're left with 0.25%, whatever it is, right? So Solana, what we're seeing is weekly hidden bearish divergence. What that means is the price made a higher high. We went from 122 to 200 level, right? Pimple above 211. But yet the RSI has made a lower high. This one from 87.38 to 87.82. So the first thing I'm going to notice is if we do go down to the 70 and we stop again, we go back down to this orange line and use it as support. If we come back up, form yet another lower high, right? So let's just say move 1 as we're doing this, right? That's my 90 to 92% percentile. We're doing that, we're coming down. Now we play chess. Do we come back down, form yet another higher, another same low here, but yet another lower high, let's just say here. We come back up to like the 80 level. And if we continue making higher highs on price, but lower highs on RSI, that tells me that the run is coming to an end, okay? So let's look at this and let's analyze. The first thing, oh, by the way, if you're having a hard time moving the chart, like let's just say you press Alt-R, you reset it, and then you're clicking in here and it's not moving, you need to adjust this real quick. So left click and just go up and down. And now you could adjust the chart however you want, okay? So what you want to do is if it looks like this, scroll up with the mouse, scroll down with the mouse, and I like to make it nice and easy for me to see the trend line. Here is clear support, okay? This technically could be clear resistance, right? And you're forming this upward channel right now. So what we're looking for is major support. Now I want to start zooming in, okay? Curious to see if it uses the moving averages. Yes, okay? So you can see here we broke up, we came down, we had the consolidation, right? We came down to the 11 and 21 day. The 11 day right now is technically 144, right, around this level here. But this is trailing, okay? So I'm not going to use that. This is a better view. You can see here right now we're coming down. I'm not even going to do the up. Here we're coming down. We use one moving average. Once we break the next, we're going to use the next one. The next one's going to be 153 to 158. Okay? 2-day 158. Once we break that, we're going to the 140. 3-day 151 down to the 131. I like that because what was previous support will turn into resistance, and what was previous resistance will turn into support. And previous resistance was like this level here, 120. I don't think we go that low. I do think we could do something like this, right? And just to give you a visual, right there, 143 to 130 level. To give you a visual, you would click on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Click on bars pattern, left click from the candle you want to copy to the end. Boom. I think we could do something like that. Easy cuzzy. Like that, boom. We come back down to this 145 to technically 130 level. Once again, these are ranges. As we get lower, I want to see where it's at on the RSI. Is it going to come down to the 50? If it breaks the 50, we're breaking the orange. But once again, you got to speculate, right? So we're here, and I like it. I think we do come down, we form lower highs. If it was to find that bottom and you have that one last pump, this leads into the weekly, right? So once again, higher high, higher high. If we do come up and form, let's just say, a double top, then you know we're forming a top leading into the weekly bear div, showing you that this trend could be coming to an end, and then we have its consolidation phase leading into the halving. That is the video. I love you guys. I appreciate the support. You can already see Bitcoin doing a little pumpy pump right now. Yeah, short term. The most important thing is this high here of 74. So once again, we could do something like this. This is how bear scenarios play out. You have dead cat bounce, we form lower high. Then you form a lower high, and then you form a lower high. That's the video, folks. I love you. I really appreciate the support, helping me grow this channel. We hit 230 subscribers. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave it in this comment section. I am going to do labs, XDC, Matic, and Chainlink next. If anyone has any other requests, leave it in the comment section. Besides that, enjoy the day.